Welcome to TomTalks. I am Nona. I'm the Associate Director of the One World, One Water Center at MSU Denver. Obviously today things are going to be just a little bit different. Tom Check will not be with us, though he has ensured me that he has his greatest confidence in us that we're going to create something really interesting for you. Today we're going to be talking about the water action plan for Auraria Campus. It's a project that all of us have been working really hard on for a while, and we're very excited to share it with you. Today I am joined by
I'm Herr, the Sustainability Officer for the Auraria Campus.
Jackie Slocombe, the Sustainability Coordinator for the Auraria Sustainable Campus Program.
Bartlett with the One World, One Water Center.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I'm really excited that we're able to talk about this today and to really share it with people. So people may be wondering why we decided to do a water action plan for campus. And creating this plan was actually part of a larger initiative that the OWOW Center has been a part of for a while called the Colorado Water Collaboratory. The Collaboratory is a group of institutions that have come together to use their campuses as living laboratories. And so creating this water action plan was a phase of the collaboratory projects, but it also was to help us fulfill our water vision on campus, which is for Auraria Campus to be a role model in sustainable water management and use for higher education institutions in a way that is pragmatic, collaborative, and actionable so that faculty, students, staff, and visitors are motivated to reduce consumption and to support efficiency. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it's really important that we lay that out there, that this is really something that we're passionate about because it helps us fulfill these goals. So one of the ways that we are creating this water action plan and making it more accessible and digestible for people is by creating an overview document that Hope has been working really hard on. And I'm going to let her share a little bit more about it with you.
Perfect. So because the water action plan is such an in-depth and kind of a long document, we decided that we wanted to create something that is a little bit easier to digest and understand for students, faculty, staff, and other guests that might come on campus and are interested in our water use on campus. So we created a water action plan one-pager. This one-pager kind of highlights what the water action plan is, what our main goal is, and steps that we as a campus plan to take to achieve our goal. It also links our full water action plan, which is on our website. It also talks about water usage on campus, where our water comes from. So it's really exciting to have this document for students and faculty to use in their classes and for guests to learn about where our water comes from on campus. And you can find this document on the One World, One Water Center's website. It's just msudenver.edu/OWOW. And the full water action plan is also linked there.
And it's also available on the ASCP website, right?
It is.
Cool. Awesome. So there's lots of places to find it. Jackie, can you tell us just a little bit more about some of the stuff that's actually included in the plan?
Yeah. So the key sections of the plan are baseline use scenarios. So we analyzed water consumption data from 2013 to 2017. And so it talks about how our water is sourced on campus, how our water is used on campus, and then it dives into some of the strategies to reduce our consumption. So it looks at what have we done in the past between 2010 and the present with ASCP funding, and identifies 13 strategies to further reduce consumption in the coming years.
Some people may be wondering, now that they've learned a little bit more about the action plan and kind of the history behind it, they may be wondering, where does Auraria Campus even get their water? I think that kind of is like an initial baseline thing that is always a little surprising for people to learn where their water comes from. Auraria Campus actually gets its water from 3 different sources. Denver Water provides potable water for indoor use, a little bit of outdoor use, and then cooling uses on campus. There is a well on campus. That water is used for only irrigation because it has a high salinity content. And then Denver Water also provides augmentation water for us. And augmentation may be a new vocabulary term to a lot of people. Chris, would you mind telling us what augmentation means?
Yeah, sure. So this is kind of the legal aspect for our groundwater use. We're allocated only a certain amount that we can use annually, and so when our needs change, if we need to increase that amount, we need to make an augmentation plan. So we do that with the state of Colorado. It's basically to ensure that there's plenty of water left downstream for communities that are obviously dependent on the same water sources that we are.
You know, ASCP does a ton of different projects on campus, not only in regards to water efficiency, but energy savings and all kinds of stuff. Can you guys tell us just a little bit more about some of the water savings projects that you guys are doing?
Yeah, we have implemented 4 projects since 2010, and they have collectively cost about $190,000 that we've invested in water conservation. And it's resulted in more than 5 million gallons of estimated water conservation per year, and cumulative savings over the lifespan of those projects of over $390,000. So just to kind of give you an idea what those projects look like, they were mainly retrofits to indoor water fixtures. So it's focused largely or entirely on indoor water fixtures, and we're hoping to now kind of pivot and target the more unaddressed area, which is irrigation and cooling water used for HVAC and swamp coolers.
We do have one project in the works for the kind of outdoor irrigation, like Jackie was mentioning. Those are mostly focused, or all focused on the indoor use. To kind of launch our outdoor approach, we do have a native landscape conversion project, which should be about 30,000 square feet of what is currently standard grass, Kentucky bluegrass, and converting that over the next several years into native landscape, native grasses to this area.
That's really cool. I think people are going to be really excited to hear about that project and then to see it actually put in place. I know that we get comments all the time about implementing more xeriscaping on campus, so that's very cool. So for these projects that you guys just mentioned and with the water action plan, there was a lot of water use data that had to be collected, and I think that process is probably a lot more complicated than people think it is. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you collected data for the water action plan?
Yeah, certainly. I'm laughing only because that was one of my key takeaways from this process was just it can be hard to get information because there's a lot of data points on a campus as large as ours. But we collect water consumption data in our energy management database, utility management database, Energy Cap. So the campus engineer from the Auraria Higher Education Center was able to pass that report off to me so we could see our water consumption 2013 to 2017. We also looked at billing information from Denver Water to get the cost piece of things, and we wanted to better understand the state of affairs with our indoor water fixtures and how updated they were to kind of corroborate some of those past projects we just talked about. So we inventoried the flow rates on faucets and the gallons per flush rate on toilets and urinals in most of the buildings across campus with the help of the custodial team at AHEC. They were really awesome. I gave them spreadsheets and they turned them back into me after doing their buildings. So that was a really cool, collaborative, fun, hands-on effort to kind of flesh out the indoor piece. And then, yeah, our database gave us the overall data.
And I believe, so before we started working on this video, this new TomTalks, we had posted something on social media asking for questions from anyone who was interested in learning more about the water action plan. And I think we got a couple of questions in there.
Yeah, we did. So one of the questions was, what is a water action plan? And what are the main goals of this water action plan?
So this is the first water action plan I've ever worked on. And what it means here on our campus is it provides us an understanding of how we currently use water. And it provides strategies to achieve our goal, which we decided was to reduce campus water consumption 10% below our 2017 baseline case, which this report presented, by the year 2022. So a 10% reduction by 2022 was the goal that we landed on, and that matrix in the report that lists the 13 strategies is kind of the roadmap for how we could possibly achieve that.
Another question that we had come through from some of our students on campus is what the biggest impact of this plan will be, and if we have any future projects or future goals of this water action plan.
I think the biggest thing that this plan provides is a really good picture of how we consume water and how to impact it. And within that, we have identified 13 strategies to reduce water consumption. We'll be turning our attention to irrigation and water used for cooling, as those are the two that we know we need to address.
Is there anything else that anyone wanted to mention about the Water Action Plan? Anything significant about it?
I think it's significant. It's the first time we're really taking an intentional look and a strategic look at our water use as a campus. I think it's been largely not ignored, but just not a whole lot of thought put into the long-term planning process. I know that from the facilities team and things like that, it's hard to not just focus on the day-to-day. We have a leak over here, let's go plug it. And it takes more intentionality to take a step back and say, how can we do better and how can we improve the systems that we have in place? And so I think that's the really important takeaway.
Absolutely. And that's a really good point to make. That really, one of the big motivators behind creating this plan is figuring out how we can all do better. You know, how can we work better? How can we share better? How can we collaborate better?
Yeah, in that same vein, it's nice to have something to point to now and that's relevant and timely. You know, it's pretty current. It's a couple years old, the baseline case. So it's a pretty good representation of how we use water right now. So to be able to point to that for people to understand what's the picture on campus and refer back to the strategies that we could be pursuing as a reminder.
So our last question, it's for everyone. You know, we've all spent a lot of time working on this Water Action Plan over, I think, the past 3 years. It's been a while that we've all been working on it. And I know there's been a lot of learning experiences through it, I think, for all of us. Would each of you please share one thing about the Water Action Plan that kind of surprised you?
Yeah, absolutely. Like Jackie mentioned, with the indoor water fixture upgrades that our program has been a part of in the past, it was really interesting to go around to all these different buildings and measure all these different flow rates and everything like that. But the most surprising thing was how thorough a job had been done in the past. We're happy to see and happy to report that most of our fixtures, like toilets and bathroom faucets and things like that, are in line with some of the more efficient fixtures available.
Yeah, my biggest surprise was how cheap water is. We paid $240,000 for our water in 2017, and to me that sounds like a lot of money. But for perspective, we spend $4.1 million on energy. So I think we calculated the cost per gallon of water through Denver Water was 0.0043 cents per gallon. So it's that was shocking to me because I don't think it values water at the true cost. And I don't think we've been forced to value water at the true cost yet. And I think that will be coming in the future. But it makes it difficult to get people to pay attention when you don't have the financial case as strongly. So it's just something to watch out for.
That's a really good point. The biggest thing that surprised me while working on this Water Action Plan was that our indoor use and our outdoor use are almost the same. So our outdoor use is 39% of our total water usage, and our indoor use is 37%. And I think it's surprising to me because when we think about how much water we use, we automatically go to irrigation and watering grass. That's the biggest user. But really, we're using a ton of water inside too. So it made me think about how we can be more conscious about how we're using water inside our campus, as well as reducing use outside.
Yeah, and I would say for me, one of the things that surprised me was part of what we did for the Water Action Plan was we distributed a survey to students that attended Earth Week and the Spring Fling events on campus last year, and then incorporated the results into the Water Action Plan. So if anyone is interested in seeing those, they are in the larger document that's linked on our website and ASCP's website. But what those results really revealed was that students don't really know a lot about the water efficiency projects that are going on campus, even though there is kind of a lot happening, and that, you know, in some areas we're doing a lot better than we thought, and in other areas there's definitely room for improvement. And so I think it was just very revealing that students didn't know that there was much happening on campus, but they were asking to learn more and they were asking to get more involved, which I think is kind of a really great indicator that this water action plan was really needed, and that sharing it with the public is going to bring a lot of great potential to what could come from everything that we put into the water action plan. Is there anything, just any last thoughts that people would like to add?
I have one thing.
Yeah.
If folks are interested in learning more about global water concerns and a little more about the water action plan, we have a spring workshop series that we recorded in March, and you can access it on our website. So a lot of really good information in there to check out. It's at sustainableauraria.org, and then you can find it under the projects and programs tab.
Thank you so much, you guys, for being here. And really, truly, thank you so much for your work on the water action plan, because there's absolutely no way that we could have tried to do any of this without your involvement and the rest of our stakeholders on campus. It's been a great project to work on, and we're excited to kind of see it grow.
Yeah, thanks for having us today.
And thanks for having us. Yeah, this was fun. We should do it again.
Yay.
Cool.
Bye, everyone.
TomTalks.
Thank you so much for joining us for this very special edition of TomTalks about the Auraria Campus Water Action Plan. It's been really exciting to work on this project, and even more exciting that we're now able to bring it to you. We hope that you'll join us in the future for more TomTalks, because we have a lot more in store for you.